We did lose a lot of the trees. You're eating my armpit. Thanks. Can I have my hat? What did you find? Oh dear. I think a wood pigeon. Yes, a wood pigeon was definitely lunch. Let's leave that alone, shall we? You okay, Bo? What are you doing? You're very cute. You are. So the one problem of keeping a billy goat with your nanny goats all year round is you have to play the goat detective. So like most sheep, goats normally come into heat in the autumn months. So they get pregnant then, and then they're pregnant over winter, and they give birth in the spring so that their babies get all of that spring, I'm being eaten, all of that spring grass and fresh leaf growth to make their babies nice and strong. And generally, Anglo-Nubians kind of stick with that pattern. They don't come into season all year round, they tend to stick to those months. However, when you've got a billy goat in with them, they could theoretically get pregnant at any point. So we have Eve and Pixie and Pie, who are our ladies, and we have JJ, who is our billy goat. And they're all living quite happily together. Now the signs of a nanny goat in heat are pretty unmistakable. They are absolute flirts and they are super noisy. They will scream and they will wag their tail and they are basically desperate for it. Well, all that applies in my experience if the nannies don't live with the billy because they're calling out for his attention. I've never kept them all in a colony system. So does that still happen, or do they just go and find beautiful Mr. JJ and have their happy ever after? And I say that because I haven't seen any signs of my Anglo-Nubian girls coming into heat. But we are in March, and as I said, they often don't come into heat this late in the year. However, yesterday, there was a little bit of stuff from JJ on the back of Pie. Does that mean she was in the mood and hormonal and they had a little frisky romance? Who knows? Maybe yes, or maybe he just was trying his luck. Now I just figured that I would know exactly when the girls were in heat and when it was likely that they had been tupped, and then I could calculate the babies. Now I'm starting to wonder whether actually it's going to be completely out of my control. Because I simply won't know when they've been in heat because they've got JJ right here with them. They'll do the deed and then it'll move on like nothing ever happened. If only you could tell us. If only Mr. JJ could tell us exactly what had happened. So it looks like I'm going to have to be detective all year round. Of course, if Pie has been tupped, we'll look forward to autumn babies. These girls have never had babies before. So obviously, as they start to bag up, we'd also know that they were pregnant. But it could be an interesting system using them all together. And it will mean that I'll have to keep a close eye on them, basically, at all times. Thanks. Can I have my hat? Please? Mr. JJ is in the mood. With Gurgi, the weather. Typical. I've also noticed that poor Pie, who's still lying down, thank you Ulysses for getting right in the way, but she has caught her yellow ear tag in something. It should be halfway up her ear and she's ripped it all the way down. It's nice and dry. I've sprayed it with iodine. It's not infected, but we will keep an eye on it. I think a load of ladybirds must have hibernated in here because on this warm day, they are everywhere. And in fact, yes, if you look in the middle of the picture there, that black cluster on the rim, that is a little cluster of winter hibernating ladybirds, and they are now starting to wake up. Actually, there's even more down there. They're all kind of clustered under the plastic of this old garden caddy, and they're everywhere. They're waking up, which is great. Come and eat all the aphids, everyone. A few of you might have noticed that the videos of late have been coming out a lot later in the day. And that's because now we've had the time change in England, and also we have longer daylight hours in the evening. I simply am not finished by 6 p.m. I am not great at pre-filming everything. So often I'm filming on the day, going home, editing, and then uploading, which means some videos may not come out till 9, 10 at night because of that. I will try and video in advance, but it doesn't always happen. So if you're wondering why suddenly videos aren't coming out at 6 p.m, it's because I'm still here farming, doing stuff. So just expect them to come out slightly later in the evenings. Now this is the woodland. We haven't finished putting all the trees in, but about a year and a half ago, I put in almost 1,000 trees. Now sadly, there was a massive drought. We weren't on site and we did lose a lot of the trees. But spring is definitely coming because the trees that have survived are gradually now starting to unfurl. So we've got a variety of native species, from oak and ash through to things like hazel and holly. And obviously in the spring they all kind of unfurl at different rates. Often the blackthorn and the hawthorn tend to come out first, and then some of the other trees come out later. But in several of these little pipes, buds are starting to show. So here we have what looks like a hazel, and then if we follow our path up here, there are some buds on that. I don't know what that is, maybe a beech. This looks like another hazel. And here is a hawthorn. So they are coming gradually, and hopefully over the next month I'll see them come into leaf and I'll know then which ones have survived and which ones haven't. I have a site plan that I'm updating constantly. I'll drop the link to it below. It's on the website. It's under the Get Involved and then the Woodland tab. But I'll put a direct link just below so you can look at the entire map and how we've done the paths and the groves and what trees are alive and what trees aren't. And then hopefully over the coming year we can not only fill these empty tubes where the trees have died, but we can also plant the entire rest of this patch, because there is a hell of a lot still without any trees at all. This time of year really is quite special. You can literally walk past the same area day after day and see something new. And I've just come down to see the nest box, which is up in this tree. And look, I found some little cowslips, which I never realised were even here. They're quite lovely. Now I have been keeping an eye on our nest box just up here, and unfortunately it ain't owls. I'm pretty sure it's some crows, which is rather annoying, but obviously under law and legislation you can't go and disturb any nesting bird or destroy their nest regardless of what species they are. So if crows have taken up residence, then good luck to them. Have some nice little crow babies, and we'll try and put up some owl nesting boxes in other areas to give them some more sites. And if you're interested about learning more about the goat caravan, I'll drop a link up here and I'll see you in that video where we talk about gutting it out and rejuvenating it for the goats. Up at the looker, I'm really pleased with how some of the planting is coming on. So we've got some primroses. Then over here we have some naturalised tulips that I put in. So they're starting to appear. The teasels as well, so the teasels are a wild plant. They are starting to come up. So here is a teasel. Some more teasels here. Some lovely comfrey. This will grow up into a beautiful big plant with purple flowers that's amazing for the bees. And the hollyhocks that we put in as well are doing great. They haven't been nibbled, and in fact they are starting to produce lots of nice fresh leaves. The roses that I put along there I've been watering in, and they've done really well. They've been a little bit nibbled, and I think they started to bud as a bare root plant, and then the shock of being planted caused some of the buds to sort of die off. But they've been all right. And then we've got more roses here and here, and this is where you can kind of see this has leafed up nicely. This one's had a bit of cold shock. And then we've got some sage and some lavender and some rosemary. So these little hedges here should be really nice as a little entrance into this area.